So some of you guys may have seen my previous coverage about the big red line that I said Donald Trump crossed when he made threats and accusations of sedition to the 6 veteran Democratic lawmakers who made a video merely reminding our military service members of their oath of enlistment, in particular, their duty to disobey unlawful orders, to refuse unlawful orders. Why did they say that? Well, one, that is the requirement under the Uniform Code of Military Justice, under their oath of enlistment, which you can look it up, but basically their duty is to protect and defend our Constitution and our people and defend our nation from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. They're sworn to only follow lawful orders. There are people, even people that claim to be veterans, who seem to be very confused about this thing that I think is a bit simple, to be honest. Some who I think have a very authoritarian mindset that just because the president or just because somebody who has authority, automatically their orders are lawful. That is not true. We have a historical record of what happens when service members are given orders or engage on their own in actions that are violations of law in whatever jurisdictions that they're under. Like, everyone is under international law. I know that is something that right-wingers seem to find very offensive, but it's still true. There is maritime law. So what was happening in the Caribbean with these 22 or 23 strikes on these boats, killing over 80 people who have not been identified. The claim is that they're transporting drugs into the United States, which is kind of absurd on its face. Like, there's no evidence of that. That's not how this works. If you think a boat has drugs on it, the protocol is not to obliterate them extrajudiciously. You board them, you search the boats. If you find the boats, or you find drugs, you seize the drugs and you bring those people, you arrest them, and then you try them in court, and then it works out that way, whatever the judge decides based on the facts. You don't get to just murder them. So we've learned now that Pete Hegseth gave the order. In one of these incidents, SEAL Team 6 was used. They basically did a double tap. There were 2 survivors after the first strike, and he ordered them to leave no one alive. That is a war crime. When they were being advised about this potential strike, the officers present said, this is clearly not something we can do. This would be a war crime. This would be a violation of international law. This accounts to an extrajudicial killing that is equivalent to murder. There is no authorization that we know of at this time that covers these strikes. The fact that they're saying that they're transporting drugs to the United States, like, it's not possible. They would have to refuel like 20 times in order to reach our shores. And even then, you cannot just strike these boats. So my issue with all of this is people defending it as if the president just gets to do whatever they want. I think you need to repeat civics. I think you need to relearn about how our government works, the various checks and balances. I would encourage you to hop on Harvard's online college website and take the free course about our Constitution. It's pretty digestible. I've taken some of it just for research. I was curious about it. But you need to review your oath of enlistment, and I think you need to revisit the kinds of content that you consume and the kinds of people that you talk to, because you're getting bad advice and they're kind of turning you into a bit of a bad person who's pretty short-sighted, I would say. There's a reason why we have international law. There's a reason why we have laws on the books. People have to understand the national security implications here. They have to understand that, like, our special forces, SEAL Team 6, that is a force that I wish was not necessary. Like, there are reasons we have them. They have a specified purpose. Unfortunately, a lot of the reasons why we have them or need them is also due to bad US foreign policy. Not all of it, but there are direct consequences, long term and short term. So SEAL Team 6 would now be on the hook for whatever accountability they would be subject to because of these unlawful extrajudicial killings, murders in the high seas. I don't know how many have been involved in these strikes, but now they're on the hook. I'm not sure about Pete Hegseth. I would say he needs to be tried at The Hague, along with Donald Trump and many other people in this administration. Um, if you want to check out something that's interesting to watch also, that relates to lawlessness of this Republican American fascist regime, I'm just using accurate labels, folks. If you're bothered by me using something you think is extreme, that's because you're just not informed enough about what is happening and what characterizes these people's ideology and their actions and their words. So I'm worried about our members of the military that would be possibly involved in carrying out unlawful actions. I'm worried about the short-term and long-term consequences. Like, we've already lost intelligence, information access by our allies in Europe because of these incidents. They've stopped sharing information because they don't want to be involved, because they could be held criminally accountable too under international law. And what do you suppose that means for our military members that are serving abroad, serving around the world? What do you suppose that does to our reputation in the world, as if it already hasn't been stained enough? We have very unlawful actions, extrajudicial killings of at least 86 people. Now they're getting ready to do an illegal regime change operation in Venezuela, despite the president of Venezuela offering lots of resources that Trump seems to be after. Like, it seems to be about the oil. So there's no good reason for this, and it's just yet another dangerous adventure in the world, another stain on our record among many. Like, these are the things that I keep talking about, that they damage our reputations. They damage our safety, our national security. They damage people's safety when we travel abroad as Americans. They endanger our soldiers. Our soldiers can and will be held accountable for these things. Like, there was the My Lai massacre years ago, that the soldiers that were involved in that were held accountable, right? There's many other examples. You can look them up. These laws exist. You do not want to live in a society where we don't have laws, we don't have any remedy when harms are done, because then it's just the rule of the jungle. And that's not, like, that's like Banana Republic stuff. That's where the most corrupt and the most murderous people are the ones that get to call the shots. And that means tremendous loss of life, unnecessary suffering. There's no version of civil society when you have that kind of thing. And crimes are abundant. It destabilizes nations. Like, this is the imperial boomerang coming back to us in a manner of different ways. I'm also making reference to the shooting of the National Guard soldiers in Washington, D.C. That appears to be somebody who, was with our, had training and support by our, was an operative with the CIA in Afghanistan, who Trump absolutely screwed that whole thing in the withdrawal. But anyway, there's too much to get into here. But before you hit me up in the comments with some angry, disgruntled, confused comment, if you're a veteran, especially, I would ask that you review your oath of enlistment and you remind yourself of what country you were serving and whether this is a service to any of us to have international law be violated, that America just act like it has impunity and it can do whatever it wants. There are consequences to that, dire consequences. If you want to see a fall of a nation, keep supporting stuff like that. And I would ask that you just burn your uniform and you resign yourself in disgrace as an individual, who failed to understand what selfless service is, what it means to serve with honor, integrity, and a commitment to our Constitution and our rule of law. You misunderstood all of it. I don't know what country you thought you were serving, but this isn't Russia or North Korea or something. This is the United States of America. We have rules and we have principles that we operate by. You swore an oath. Then what? Just scribbled out the parts that you don't like? That's not how this works. All right. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving was yesterday. Today's the day after. Yeah, I wish you all well. I have hope, but I have great worry as well. I'm going to keep doing my best to educate people and encourage people to come together and help people that are ready to recognize where we are and some of the decisions they've made that don't serve them or us, and welcoming them into the fold, and do it kindly and gently. United we stand, divided we fall, right? So let's not allow ourselves to fall down. It's okay to fall. Let's just pick each other back up, okay? We're Americans. Americans are from everywhere. We are everybody. We have all kinds of different ideas, different cultures, different religions. That's who we are. We have a shared commitment to each other to make a more perfect union. It's always been an interesting phrase for me, but it means that we recognize that while we can be united, we are imperfect, and that's okay. But we keep making things better. And I think it's time that we actually get representatives in our government that serve us rather than the oligarchs, rather than the corporations, rather than the people with too much money and too much power who have been unchecked for far too long and are literally poisoning us, making life unlivable by driving up the cost of everything, by rigging the rules so it favors them, not us, by denying us things like healthcare and childcare and education that doesn't make us go broke, trade schools that are abundant for people that have access to those kinds of jobs, can have a future for themselves, businesses that can get transferred from one generation to the next, reasonable taxes for working people, and more taxes for the people that benefit the most from society's contributions. It's not unreasonable to ask for more. That every other nation is kind of like a lot of other nations, the Scandinavian countries have figured this stuff out. I got to share a comment with you guys later from one of my new subscribers on my YouTube channel that it kind of almost brought a tear to my eye because it kind of summarized a lot of things I've been saying about reforms we can make and how they've been tried, the things that are kind of making things harder for them, things they've been contending with. Short notes is they've had to deal with wealthy people from America selling them trickle-down economics and privatization schemes and selling greed. Those are the things that have been gumming them up. Those are the things that are gumming us up too. That stuff has always been a lie. It's always like the things we have to contend with are greed and corruption. And one of the things we can do for billionaires' mental health is to tax them more, because too much wealth actually does cause mental illness. Believe it or not, it's just not something we've studied for a long time, but we know a lot more about it now than we did, say, 40, 50 years ago. So anyway, you guys take care of yourselves. Bye.